Greetings and welcome to my studio. I'm Susan Staples Bell, pianist, teacher, and composer. And today, I want to encourage you to get creative with lead sheets. What does it mean to go beyond the page? For me, it started with exploring lead sheets. So many musicians think that the notes and the instructions on the page of music are the gospel truth, not to be altered. I'd like to challenge that idea. As a composer, I'd like to think that my pieces are kind of like recipes, a starting point for players to express how music speaks to them. What story do they want to tell? I encourage all of my students to feel the freedom to explore, create, and express. When COVID happened, it challenged us all to think about ourselves in new ways, and it opened up even more possibilities for ways to reach our students. I love to learn new skills, like many of you who also learned new skills during the pandemic. What did you learn? Did you expand your cooking recipes? Did you get an RV and go exploring your state parks? Maybe you ramped up your fitness routine. I'd love to hear about your new skills. Drop me a comment in the video. I really embrace the online opportunities. My students, we never missed a beat. We jumped online for lessons and we even had Zoom recitals. I also noticed with the extra time at home, my students were thriving. Most of them had more time to practice and there was time to dig deeper into topics that were interesting to them. It was the perfect time to introduce lead sheets. Not only do they bring life to the music theory that they're learning, but it allows for so much more creativity. And today I wanted to share one of those with you. I'd like to start with something I call You Gotta Know the Score. It's an information sheet. Think of it like a lesson plan to kind of guide you through the steps of learning lead sheets. It talks about the elements of lead sheet, like what's on a lead sheet. It's got a melody for the right hand. It's got some chord symbols above each measure that tell us what chords go with that melody. But there's no left-hand part. You got to make up that. So, and all of the rhythm, they'll have the rhythm of the melody. And so, what do we do with that information? How do we take it from there? So this is kind of a guide that says, first thing, what scale is this tune in? For instance, today I want to show you The Saints Go Marching In. It's a song that most of my beginning students are well familiar with. It's in the key of C. So a great place to start would be to know your C scale. So if I'm just doing right hand, I'm going to start with C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And I teach my students that by finger numbers. I love to bring in math whenever we can. I'm going to say this is 3 plus 5 in right hand. We're going to use 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then we have to cross. That's why I say 3 plus 5. 3 fingers, 1, 2, 3, cross. Our thumb is going to cross under our first finger, under our third finger. 1, 2, 3, cross. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's our math, 3 plus 5. C scale, C, D, E, cross. F, G, A, B, C. You might want to play that. I tell my kids they should play it with their eyes closed, just so they know it. They can go up and down. Just to know that we've got that in our ears, we got that in our fingers, we don't have to think about that. That's our first thing I would love to do. The next thing we want to talk about is what chords go with that scale. So if I build a triad, and a triad, just 3 notes, but they're in thirds. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 notes built in thirds, and that's a triad, and that's the C major chord, C, E, G. And if I just walk up the scale and do that, say, just move my hand in parallel, same direction, parallel motion. If I just walk up the scale, C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, this is a fun one, B diminished, and back to C major. Now there's all sorts of rules and stuff, but let's get into that another time. We don't even need all those chords for this song. We only need C, we need F, and we need G, okay? Now that we have some basic information about the scale and the chords, We're going to think about those in left hand now. So if I have a C chord in left hand, I could just play it blocked or all 3 notes played at the same time. Or I could use it as a rhythmic accent. You know, I could play quarter notes. That might be a fun punctuation of the melody. If the right hand's just sitting there not doing anything, that's a great way to use your time. We could also do a call and response. So if right hand is, we can answer. So we're kind of just doing the same thing, but they're repeating, but we call that imitation. We're imitating each voice. Another word is to call and response. We have a G7 and a C7 in this song, and I just wanted to point out, because that's a little bit different. Let's start with G7. So you know how we build the chords: C, D minor, E minor, F, G, G, B, and D. There's our G chord. But if we add the 7th note above G, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. That's the 7th note, G, B, D, F. That's a G7. And so, but that's a lot of notes to play. How about if we rearrange that? Root, that's root position. What if we put the root on the top to get first inversion? That's a B, a D, an F, and a G. There's still a lot of notes to play. We can leave the D out because it's the 5th. It's not that important. We can play G, F, and B. But if that's too tough, we can play just the G and the F. I'm going to lower it down. Right? So we have a G7 with only 2 notes. Those are kind of the important 2 notes to identify that. Now that we've got a little bit of information about the scale and the chords and the lead sheet, let's put it all together in an arrangement. This is the elementary level. Pretty simple. Hands don't move very much, but there's a little bit of interest. You could mix and match some of these pieces. You could, patterns. You could study this and see what you would like to do differently. But here's what I came up as an example. There's an imitation. Punctuation. Kind of near the end, we had a B flat, A flat, G, the little descending chromatic line. What's chromatic again? Remember, every single note in half steps apart from each other. Really handy skill to know chromatic scales. But we did that. The B flat was the 7 of the C7, C, E, G, B flat, B flat. Then we went to A, which is from the F chord. Then we went to an A flat, which is an F minor chord. I didn't tell you about that, but I'm just going to sneak that in. And then back to, you could do a G chord over, a C chord over G, then the G7, and then back to C, F. So that's some ideas you can do at the elementary level. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to ramp it up a little bit. I love Boogie Woogie. And the next one I want to play for you, maybe is for early intermediate. Maybe some elementary kids can handle it. We'll see how it goes. But if I add a left hand pattern that's a boogie pattern, that just changes the whole flavor. So I'm still in C position, but I'm going to do a boogie pattern. We have a 5th. We raise up the top note, our 1, to an A. That gives us a 6th. And we go back and forth. Let's see what that sounds like. Basic. If you want to improvise, something you could do is let's put that left hand down an octave. That already sounds a little bit more rich and exciting. What if we put right hand up or mix and match? off there, just throwing in things back and forth. But just, sometimes it doesn't always come out perfect, especially when you're just kind of going for it. What about writing? What if we wanted to explore some improvisation in writing? That's why we learned about that scale. And this is all just right in there. But what if we did something? So forth. You can start exploring different melodies. I even threw some blues scale in there. I kind of went off, got a little too excited, but I just wanted to give you some ideas and things to think about, and that's it for today. I hope I've given you some ideas. I hope I've gotten you curious, and I would love to hear what you think about this. I'm really excited about educational lead sheets plus the arrangement. You can learn the tools to make your own. Look at the one I made. How is it different? What did I do? How can you take that on? And I had one student I introduced this to. She came in the next week with her own new song because she had learned these tools and she applied them in different ways. Anyway, it's an exciting topic. I hope you agree. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, happy music making.